do we have here?
Okay, so this is our main planting of Pinot Noir. This is our main backbone clone, clone 115, which is probably the most planted of the newer clones. In
No question. This is like the backbone of so many. This is like the clone for most people.
Yeah.
And it is a beautiful clone. We got 7 acres of this plant. We just really like
Tell us about the clone when you planted. What did you do?
I tell you, the first time when we planted in 01, we had no idea about clones. So we listened to a vineyard consultant we had.
Right, sure, of
whatever
course.
he wanted. But when we added
Was
another
he
10
right?
acres, I'm very pleased with what we did. 7 acres of 115, 3 acres of Pomar. They complement each other
I agree
extremely
100%.
well.
That's great. Okay.
But at that time, nobody planted Pomar any longer.
Yeah.
So he was getting one of the old clones, but I'm happy we got it. Then in 04, when we added the other the new plantings, we planted 667, 777, 2A, and 828. We actually did a planting for people you mentioned before, Brewer Clifton. So they have in a couple of a month or
great.
two.
I
Yeah,
love
they're
those
great
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
Great guys.
They'll have a Brewer Clifton Ampelos.
This is a great nose, huh?
Yeah.
Aromatically,
150 is just
extremely
pretty
interesting.
good.
Spiciness, a little bit even, like
And-
rosemary on the nose.
And earthy. I like the. This one has. This is why we always call it the backbone, because it's got the big nose to it and the boldness
As a matter
of
of
the
fact,
fruit.
Of the whole bunch, it feels like the most complete product.
Yeah,
Like it
this
feels
one,
like
sure.
it feels like you can model this.
Yeah. Now, I will also say one thing that's different is how old the vines are.
Sure.
Because
These are young, right?
yeah, these
Okay.
guys are young.
Sure.
The
when,
first one
when
last
do you
one.
feel these Pinot, clones start hitting their stride? 5, 7 years?
Probably.
At least 5.
Probably, yeah.
You start really
Because it's
becoming
about
who they are.
establishing a root system
giving
so
it,
you
you
can
know,
uptake
yeah.
all the nutrients and the water.
They start showing their
efficiently.
personality.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing is that in 2006 we converted to biodynamic farming. So it takes a while before the biodynamic farming impact totally kicks in the
Sure.
vineyard.
This is very good and extremely silky.
Yeah.
By far, good fruit. Good. Okay.
All right.
It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have all these good components, and we're gonna screw it up in the blend.
Try not to. So the next one is to give you a feel for oak impact.
Great.
So the oak monster. What do I say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen. The bottom line is, I'm not that against oak, but I feel that people have taken it way
Yes.
too. It's like makeup, right? I mean,
Yes.
makeup is not
Yeah.
the worst thing in the
Yeah,
world.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of wineries walking around like they're Kiss. I mean, like, and that to me is a problem because then you really take away everything.
I think people do way over oak. We don't tend to add that much oak to our blends. It should be used as a salt and a pepper.
I
and
agree.
you wouldn't want to oversalt your food.
I agree. That's a great analogy. I'm stealing that and trademarking it. And if you use it again, I'm suing you. All right, so
I have grandfather rights, don't I?
yeah, it's on video too.
Yeah, we have a document.
Mott, thank you so much. We have a doc. No, you'll watch this episode. You'll be like, I thought they didn't edit. I mean, like, no part of it. All right. So what is this? I'm sorry, I didn't take a quick look. This is 116.
115.
115. Yeah,
In New York. So exactly the
got
same
it.
as the
Same
one
thing.
before.
New oak. Got it. Okay.
This is out of a boot barrel, which is one of our favorite barrels. So it's a great French oak barrel, $1,200 a pop.
The thing about this barrel, though, is
That's the
it's not.
business, Mott.
Yeah.
Screw this. Let's go make some barrels.
The thing about this barrel, though, it is untoasted. So you're not going to get that big smokiness that you would typically get from the oak.
Yeah, there's just a little bit more, it almost feels like it accentuates the fruit a little bit, and I get a little bit more of a smokiness on this one, which is weird, a little weird for me,
But
though.
it's the toastiness
Yeah.
of the barrels.
But it's not toasted.
It is not toasted.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And it's not,
But
which is,
the
by
oak-
the way, the way to go. Honestly, don't toast the inside of your barrels. I mean, do whatever you want, but I'm just saying.
But the oak itself has that tendency, just like sometimes a very fruity wine will tend to make people think it's sweet when it's
Sure,
not.
sure, because it's so much fruit.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I mean, you really do pick up the spiciness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
the subtle spiciness is clear. I mean, it's a more creamy play. I mean, when there's anything is good in moderation.
Except for moderation.
Well, it's a good way to put it. And murder. Murder is not good in moderation, I heard. So, well, what do you think about that?
So
Okay.
what are the percentages you're now using?
Okay, so what I'm going to do
Yeah, what are you doing here? You're not telling anybody what you're doing.
No, because I can't get a
This
word
is a
in.
show
That's
where
always what happens
you'd
with
be
my wife.
terrible
Can't
on the
get a
Food
word.
Network. We have to explain what's going
Okay,
on.
all right, so what I'm going to do now is to make the first blend. Since you're not too excited about the 2A, I'm going to leave it out for now.
You can put it
So
in there.
no, but I'll
I'm
put
no
it
expert.
afterwards because I want you to see what it does to the final
I
blend.
see.
So
I'm going to stick to my guns regardless. I'm going to lie outright and just say I hate it.
just because I
Okay.
told you. The first blend will have 2A, and then second blend I'll pull it out again.
Okay.
So this is then 50% 115 with
Okay.
the new oak, and it's 25% of the Pomar and 25% of the 777.
So 51, 115? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
50% 115 with
Okay.
the new oak,
Okay.
and then so it's a little more new oak than we usually
rinse.
would do in them.
Yeah, we typically use a third new oak, so this has got more in it than what we typically use.
Got it. Is this something you just want to, you're just showing me, or is this something you're playing around with possibly going in that direction?
Our higher end Pinot actually has 50% new oak, but it's all the untoasted oak.
And what's the higher end Pinot called?
That's the one you're selling down here.
That's
Got
the
it.
road.
The row, the one that you talked about back
Got
in
it.
August.
And we do have barrels that are toasted, but then we go back to only a third new oak on it. So we cut it back in
Got it.
order to not have it so dominated.
Nice.
So do you feel how the components start coming together in it?
Yeah, I mean, this is something I've done a whole lot of, and I mean, even like in my mind before I tasted this, I kind of saw where things were going.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I think it's extremely fascinating. I really feel that if you're going out to any wine country, if you email ahead and you ask if you can play around with blending, you will get so much more than sitting in some
Yes.
tasting room. And listen, it's fun to interact and blah blah blah. But if you really want to see something that will really, it blew my mind when I found out what 5% could do. Like when I really did. I mean, I went on a trip a long time ago. Years ago, I walked up the snow and back, no shoes. No, but a long time ago, and blended at length in a lot of places. And it just, probably what hooked me into this world. I mean, such an impact. And the subtleties. And it's amazing to watch it come together. Clearly, this is a superior balance to any of the ones we had individually.
Sure.
And that's what you look for.
Yeah.
To me, I'll be honest with you, to me at the end of the day, our hand in this, though, is still going to be trumped by what happens in the vineyard. And
Yes.
Yeah.
clearly, you guys got fortunate that your spot, and maybe that was your skill of understanding what you were buying, or some luck, or what have you, but clearly, the quality of this fruit is strong. And, I'll be honest with you, I think the land's doing the work in a lot of this, and you're getting the credit, and that pisses me off. Just kidding, I'm kidding.
But
No,
think about
but
it.
I think it's also not just
It's
the
kind of hard
land.
to screw it up when the components are this strong. I mean,
Yeah,
these
when
are
the we-
strong
when the weather
guys.
is
I mean,
good.
we met through me reviewing you the wine. I mean, you guys have good components.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. I mean,
Well, we believe that all the work is done in the vineyard, and it's the winemakers not to screw it up.
and who's doing the vineyard managing? You guys are.
We get good consultants, and we have two guys who work full time for us that have worked for at least 5 years, so they know what to do. And we listen to them because they're also out there
experts.
all the time.
They're in the trenches.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they
our
are getting good.
focus, and most of our focus, is really spent in the farming practices of that vineyard to be able to do what you're
Tell me
saying.
why you made the play for biodynamic. I think a lot of people would find that interesting. Why biodynamic? I think the real word we're going to hear a lot about is sustainable.
Sure.
Because that's a little bit more,
Yeah. So the whole thing with biodynamic
Yep.
was that when we got into harvesting, we realized that as we started doing little tricks to tune these vines to get them to be more perfectly positioned, it actually made a difference.
It was shocking, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was just amazing.
was.
It's
that
farming.
We could. It was not so much about us controlling nature, but us
wasn't
starting
this.
to work with nature.
It wasn't
No,
this.
No.
It was doing the right things in the trenches before it got to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we kept on working with our vineyard consultant, asking him, what can we do to do it better?
He's
And then in
out there.
2005, he said to us, I think you should look into biodynamic farming. So we started reading some of Goethe's work and Steiner's work, and then spring of 06.
So do you kill animals and put their skulls in the vineyard and wait for the moon and all that?
Well, we actually did
Sort of.
kill
I mean,
gophers and dry their
yeah.
skins
I
to
mean,
burn
mean it.
them.
I mean, tell-
and
I mean,
put
tell-
the ash.
no,
The problem is our dogs eat them.
eat the gophers.
We'd
I heard
taken-
gopher was delicious.
We'd taken gopher skins and
No,
hang
but
them
you know
up
what?
to dry.
Let's explain a little bit of this because
Yeah.
I was making a joke, but I really wasn't. I wanted you to kind of explain a little bit of this. I mean, the whole moon play.
Okay, so you have 4 different cycles. You have the annual cycle, spring where things pushes out, and then fall when it closes down. You have the daily cycle. We all understand that morning when you're energized and afternoon when you shut down.
Well,
and then you have the...
I'm energized
Yeah.
both, just saying.
Okay.
But go ahead.
But that too. And then you have the monthly cycle where the moon is going from new moon to ascending to full moon to descending. And you ask any surfer dude what the moon does to the water.
Baby.
And they know about it. We got a lot of surfer dudes where we live.
Yes, you
I
do.
know cellar rats. And,
Yep.
and therefore, we know that the liquid moves up on ascending moon and down on descending moon. Therefore, for instance, when we bottle, we always bottle on descending moon because by doing that,
cool.
everything stays in the wine.
Yep.
When we taste wines to make blending decisions, we do it on ascending moons, where the flavors are coming out of the wine.
Sure.
And we
Then you-
irrigate.
So
on
what
a
happens when
decent-
somebody's drinking the wine on a non-ascending moon, and and then they're all, they don't like the wine as much?
Just not as
So
good.
do you feel like you really want critics and other people to drink in certain times?
I would love to, but unfortunately, we have no control over that.
Why don't you put it on the back of your label?
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding.
Actually,
That
that's
would
a
be-
great
It's a good
idea.
idea.
Well, I am a marketing genius, but that's
That
another
is
story.
actually a great
I mean,
idea.
how cool would it be if the wine said, drink this, here's the drinking schedule for this wine, January 17th to the 21st, March 19th. I mean, that would be revolutionary, interesting, and probably quite impactful.
But maybe it wouldn't be as good for the retailers, because then
Us retailers, we're tough.
you're tough.
We're tough. We can make
You
it happen.
deal with it.
Plus,
You can
once
deal
we sell it, they can sit on it for a couple days or weeks
Yeah.
or what have you. I think it's a pretty interesting play.
Oh, yeah,
I know
I
you
like
like
it.
it.
I
I saw your
like it.
reaction.
Tickets and what?
We'll sell 'em.
Yeah, I'm much tougher. I'm stubborn.
And how about the animal skulls and things of that
Okay,
nature?
so
A
the
lot
way
of
it
people
works
ask me
with
about.
that
I'm trying to
is-
save myself emails for Biodynamic because I have to write the same stuff. Go ahead.
The way it works with animals is a couple of things. Is when you farm biodynamic, you have 9 different components you use as fertilizers.
Yep.
BD 500 to 508. 6 of them are applied to compost. And the way that these components are being prepared is they stay in different parts of an animal. So either it's a skull, or it is inside the intestines, or it is in
cow
old
horn.
piece of And then there's a cow horn where cow manure or quartz silica is stuffed into cow horns and then buried for 6 months, either on a spring equinox or a fall equinox, and then taken out 6 months later. And then they are applied
What if you
as
can't find it?
fertilizers. Oh, you always can find it one way or the other.
Where's this damn horn? Digging up your whole vineyard. No, but you mark it.
We
You
put
mark
a big
it.
rock on the top and make
just
sure
thought
the
it was
dogs
funny.
don't get to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so you did that in 06,
Mm-hmm.
and here we are in early 09, and are you just really excited about where things are clearly going?
Yep.
You can see major differences in our vineyards since we've gone biodynamic. First off, if you look at some vineyards that are dark green and light green, that's inconsistency.
No question.
Ours is one dark velvety green, regardless of whether we're dealing with sand or clay or loam, where we
Just
get the
green.
different, it's totally green. You look around our oak trees, it's hard to plant vines around an oak tree because the oak tree takes all
Sucks.
the minerals out of it
Sure.
and nothing can survive. Well, we were about ready to remove some of the vines that were around our oak trees. Well, it's apparent that they're now starting to grow better because there's enough minerals and nutrition
Still
happening
left in the ground.
that the oak tree and the vine can coexist together.
Dirt, baby.
Yep.
Take care of your dirt. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The last cycle is as a moon passes through the 12 main constellations. These constellations relate to the 4 elements, which impacts the 4 part of a plant. Roots versus leaf.
You mean
versus
like
fruit
Orion's
and
belt is a
flower.
factor?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Cancer,
Main,
Oh, well,
Aquarius.
yeah, those constellations. So when the moon is in
Scorpio?
Leo,
Yeah.
yeah,
Tell me about the Scorpio since I'm one. Phenomenal. That's the best one.
a scorpion, I believe, is one of those that impacts the flower.
Yeah, I'm a flowery kind of guy.
Your flower, yeah, you
I'm a
can
delicate
qualify.
flower. I get it.
The Leo, Aries, Sagittarius are the 3 constellations that relates to the heat element of fire,
Got it.
which impacts the fruit. So, for instance, when we harvest, we always harvest when it is what we call a fruit day, when the moon is in one of those 3 constellations.
And so have you gotten into this stuff? You like it?
It's kind of weird because when we
Do
started
you feel
out,
like it's a little culty?
it was a little bit in the
Do you
beginning.
feel like you have to wear a hat and a Hawaiian shirt kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. But I started that early on.
You did that regardless.
Yeah.
No, but I,
More
mean,
than just
I
having-
think it's clear. I mean, you take care of your land, it's obvious. I mean, I think most wineries will go to some sort of, at least at minimum, a sustainable farming practice. I think everybody's going to have to compete because wineries like yourselves that are going biodynamic and whatever organic kind of means in that world, their vineyards are healthier, making better wines.
The one thing you have to be careful with sustainability is right now, today, people use the words, but there's been no proof behind it.
Correct.
What's happened is California has now released a certification process.
Okay.
We are one of the first vineyards to be certified in sustainability as well. We'll be
And
the
you're also certified biodynamic?
We're in the
It takes 3
process.
years.
That's what I thought.
We're
right?
in the
Yeah.
process. As soon as we get certified biodynamic, we'll be the only vineyard certified in both
Both.
practices. And why we think that's good is biodynamic is organic, but also tells you what you must do. But it doesn't take into account irrigation practices,
right.
waste management, employee practices.
Doesn't mean you're that good to the earth.
the other
It just
things.
means
right.
you're good at taking
Yeah.
care of the soil and
That's
the
right.
Yeah.
plants.
So sustainability worries about those, but the problem with sustainability, you are allowed to spray Roundup. And so by having both of those practices, we believe
You're like Michael
Best of
Phelps.
both
You'll just have medals everywhere. Understood. Okay. Let's. So that was interesting stuff. Since we made the commitment to a two-parter, I thought that we should get into a lot of things. I think it's really fascinating for people to get the thought process of a winery, and I think hopefully we're helping some other wineries out there as well. Okay, so we did the
do
first
the
blend,
secret?
which I thought was just solid.
Yeah, let's try a little bit of the secret stuff.
Okay, let's talk about the
The weird
secret stuff.
So it's
Matt, I'm sorry to interrupt. You're gonna have to link up the episode when we did this. I mean, this was an early episode. How did you get into this varietal?
well, it is something we buy from another vineyard, Huber Vineyard, which is
We didn't
say
also
what it is.
in
This is
Cedarweiler
Dornfelder, right?
Yep,
So-
Dornfelder.
Very common in Germany and a lot of other places. This is Brintz, actually.
Yeah.
And
Watch out, it's never going to get off the glass.
Austria.
the Huber vineyard is in Santa Rita Hills. And Peter and our view is we have to keep challenging ourselves, otherwise you kind of get status quo. And so we wanted to play around with something we hadn't done before, and we could get some of this Dornfelder, which is
Highly popular in the U.S. Everybody's drinking the Dornfelder. Okay, and what was the thought process behind that? I mean, people do this in
What we
different
do,
parts of the world.
yeah, what we do every year is that we make a little special blend. We make 3, 4, 5
Such a
barrels
great
of something fun.
Okay.
So we bought 2 tons of this from North Huber
Yep.
and made wine out of it. And
100,
just
so
love
it's 100% Dornfelder?
100%
Yep.
Dornfelder.
And you sell it to the club or out of the wine
It's
room?
going to go out to the club. Yeah, it's
secret
we only
club?
done it once. This,
You meet on the third moon with the gotta bring your pet animal
Funny
and the
hair.
Dornfelder. Yeah.
slaughter a squirrel.
No, but so this will go to your mailing list offer,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
and it'll be available in the wine room.
Yeah.
No retail.
We are not planning
So
to do
small.
retail. What
Right.
we'll do is that if we have a specific request on it, somebody who wants a case.
Like a great retailer that was just so charismatic and charming.
In
and
New
gave us a
Jersey.
good marketing idea.
That's right. He should be able to sell it in the store.
Yeah, we are thinking about there's room in the New Jersey market for a few cases.
That's what I've heard. So, all right, so let's give this a whirl. I mean, aromatically, this is extremely exciting. It actually smells like lipstick to me.
Lipstick.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Eucalyptus. Yeah, lipstick.
See, I think it's more like, Stu Venison, and it has a
Stew
little,
like?
yeah, it has a little eucalyptus because there are some eucalyptus trees planted by this
Yeah,
You
it's
know, you
funny
can
how
definitely.
they
And
just
it's also got a
offset the
citrus component, almost like tangerine on the back end.
Tangerine. Yeah. This varietal is just so dark. I mean,
So
look at
dark.
it. When I put it on, I even stained the label here.
What kind of price point is this going to be?
It's probably going to be somewhere around $40 at retail level.
It's a little, it's a tough price point for
I
a
know.
grape varietal. But you're making so little of it
Yeah.
that you can feel you
For
can get away
fun.
with it.
Yeah, we'll get away with it.
And it will have been barreled aged much, much longer than the other ones. And
Right.
so there's, some other working that we've been doing on it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's got good bright fruit. I mean, I think for me at least, I've got to hold down my job here now. At a price point play, it might not be the greatest QPR play for me. I mean, I've had a lot of Dornfelders that, you can get them for $20, $25.
Oh, sure.
They're going to
Yeah.
act like this and bring that kind of quality. Now there's the rarity of it. I mean, I don't even know how many California wineries even play around with this varietal.
As far as I know, only 2. That's us and Huber.
Huber.
I mean, that's pretty, so from a neatness factor, comes down to, are you willing to pay that $15 swing for the neatness? What kind of production are you going to make on this?
It would be about 120 cases.
100, so 2 pallets in a way. You gotta
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
That's like one good picnic, right?
Yes.
But the fruit is very pure, and I do like the chocolate component on the back end that I'm picking up, almost like
Like
that
bitter
sour.
chocolate.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like
Yeah.
high cocoa count dark chocolate.
Yeah.
I get that subtlety on the back end, which is probably the most fascinating aspect, and it is floral, obviously in the mid palate.
Yeah.
Very floral.
That's interesting.
So every
I like
year
it.
you're going to kind of fool around with that. You're going to purchase a little
No.
fruit from different varieties.
Well, we
or?
couldn't. We tried to purchase an 08 that didn't have any more.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they had a lot of frost problems and low
Right, so he had
harvest.
to make his own wine.
But they
So
would
we
do
started-
something different every year.
So actually in OA we decided to experiment with port.
Cool.
And so, I think that's probably going to
What
take
varietal
us.
are you going to use?
Syrah,
yeah.
it's what we mostly put into it.
Is there any Touriga Nacional running around the area?
It's hard to find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real hard, right?
Yeah. I mean, the right varietals for port, we don't have much. There's a
Sure.
little bit around, but not
Sure.
much.
And
So
how's that going?
Well,
It's
it's still too young, and
Yeah.
I think that one will probably need a couple evolutions to really learn, because port is really different in comparison to the other wines. So,
And every time I come up with a new idea, she's always yelling at me. No more than 9 different
Well,
wines.
you know what? I'm glad you brought that back up. We got back to a point that was said earlier in the show. That's a lot. That's a lot of different SKUs, single vineyard kind of plays. What do you feel? What is your agenda? Why did you do that? I mean, that's a lot of confusion in the market for the normal consumer having that many different Pinot.
yeah.
Am I helping you here? I mean, I think there's
No.
I think there's a. I mean, that's a very.
helping her.
I believe it. That's a very difficult play, and we've seen a lot of wineries through time struggle with that. And I would tell you right now, because I like documenting facts and predictions, I guarantee in 2 or 3 years when we're doing this show, you do not have 9 single vineyards.
But it's 9 different bottling. So there's a Viognier, there's a Rosé
I see.
of
How many
Syrah.
different Pinots do you do?
3.
Okay,
2
I see.
estate
Okay,
and a
I
fiddle
see.
sticks.
I see. So what is it one more time? It's a Viognier.
Viognier, we just did 179
Yep.
cases.
Then-
Rosé of Syrah,
Okay, a
with a little bit
rosé.
of
How many?
Riesling, 170 cases.
Small productions.
Yeah.
Okay.
We drink half of it ourselves, so that's why we love
understand.
rosé, good rosés.
Okay, and
And then 3 Pinots, or 2
Pinots?
different estate Pinots and fiddlesticks Pinot.
so 4 Pinots, or no, 3,
2
and
plus
then
1.
how
And
many
then we
Syrahs?
do Syrah,
One
2
Syrah.
different Syrah.
Well, a Syrah and then a Syrah Grenache blend.
Okay.
And then the last one is what we call epsilon, which is a small finite number is what it means. When we find a couple barrels that rocks our socks off, it goes into epsilon. So 1 year was
Do you
Grenache.
put those socks directly into the barrel to get that sticky stock thing? No. Just curious.
But
As long as it's
but
not mine.
one year was Grenache, another year was a Syrah. It's going to be a Downfelder next year. So it
Very
varies.
It's just a different thing every year.
Yeah, so that's
There'll
like the
be a port
cherry.
where-
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of represents our year. This is what we thought was really outstanding
Exactly.
in our world this year.
Yeah.
That's a
Yes.
cute
We found these
idea.
good
I like
barrels.
that.
Cool.
I like that. That's
And then
very
we do a Grenache as well. We did a 05, we did a Grenache. Our 06 Grenache
Is there any
still
Mourvedre in the
barrels.
area to do a GSM or not really?
No.
There really isn't, but I'm not a lover of Mourvedre.
Really?
And so we have to support our drinking habit too. So we only make wines we like to drink.
It's a great concept because if all else fails, you drink it.
We'll just get drunk and happy.
To me, when you do I call it MSG, I know it's GSM blend, it's like
Do
3...
you say MSG because you're a big Knicks fan? I'm hoping. I'm fishing here.
I
You know?
don't, I know.
You should have
Go
said
ahead.
yes. You get better points.
No, she
Yeah.
said yes. She would have got crushed because I
Oh, I
started
see.
asking trivia.
And then I knew
this
I'd
is
be in
live. We don't
trouble.
edit. Yeah. Good job. Authenticity, man.
Okay, I'm from out of town.
But if you had the GSM blend, to me, it's like three's a crowd, odd men's out. It just sticks out. Versus the Syrah and the Grenache blend so well. And to me, if you're going to do that, go all the way to Chateauneuf. Don't go part way.
Don't be half pregnant.
Yeah.
So don't be. I mean,
And
when did you
that's
last
why-
time taste 100% Mourvedre that you really liked? Anyway?
I like Mourvedre.
Do you really?
Yeah, I really do.
I'm just
I
not a
really
Mourvedre
do.
guy.
Well, you guys are both. Well, I see now why it doesn't make it the cut. Neither one of you like it.
No.
Really, Mott's a huge
He's a
Mourvedre
Mourvedre guy?
His nickname's Mourvedre.
But why? Why?
Tell him, Mott.
Love it.
Right.
But that's what's so
I guess
neat
I'm still
about
young.
wines, because
That's
it
what's
can...
absolutely. That's the game, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it.
I hope people come and visit you guys.
Yeah, come on out and
Clearly,
see us.
you're a tremendous characters, except the Mourvedre thing. Okay, fire away with the question of the day. Why don't you do it? The honors. You get to ask the Baniacs out there any question you want about anything. Doesn't even have to be wine related. Fire away. I've been pausing long enough. Shoot it out there.
I'll have him start.
Nope. You.
You're on the spot.
Not
What's your
as...
favorite
No,
color?
no
What's
politics,
your-
please. No
what's your favorite
politics.
Pinot Noir? Yeah, anything you want. Go.
How many have been to Alaska?
Tremendous. What? Have you been to Alaska?
I was raised there.
You were raised in Alaska.
My-
Show's not ending right now. Hold on. Tell me a little bit about Alaska.
Well, my dad was a bush pilot, a subsistence hunter, and a commercial fisherman. He was one of the first to
course.
be called the pioneer. I grew up as my first vehicle was a snow machine. I learned to hunt with black powder and bow and arrow.
Doesn't she
and
look like
so
a hunter to you?
I grew
I
up.
can see her with the powder in the...
So when I
Suck it, Falcon! All right, go ahead.
so when I finally graduated from college, I had to go find cement, and so I went to work in LA.
That, first month must have been very interesting.
Oh, it was.
She loves cement.
I didn't.
No.
Of course.
I got stopped by the police because I was speeding, and I told them I was from Alaska, and we didn't have speed signs up there, so I didn't know what that meant.
That is pretty interesting. That's pretty good. Have you been to Alaska? And what's your opinion about cement? You, with a little bit of me, and tremendous, this is why I love the wine industry, people, these kind of characters in it. We're changing the wine world.